All right, hello, peoples. I see half the peoples here. Hold on a second. All right. I see a few people are in. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, hold on. We start already. I'm to everybody else. I guess they're on the way. All right. You know, like when we in shared facilities and it takes 15 minutes for one classroom to empty out and then another classroom to come in. So that's what we're waiting on, right? But virtually. Yeah.
I guess.
All right. Where is the option to? Okay. Anyway, I'll stop messing with Zoom. Okay, so we are going to keep it moving. All right. Now remember what we spoke about earlier today. The train is going to be moving, and we're going to try to keep on schedule as much as we can. So what we're going to be doing today is, well, firstly, how do you think this work out? Like, you prefer just the one thing or go and then come back again? How is it so far? I mean, on my end, it's a little bit, because I don't have a break between this class. So I don't know if I have one class that kind of run a little bit over time, it's going to directly affect this class a little bit. Not that I imagine that should happen. But what's your opinion, guys? Like, you want to come here one time for the day, or morning and then evening, or is it still a split?
I honestly only mind one time. It's just that for me, I have a meeting 1 2. So I would like to just be at that time.
You have a what?
A meeting 1 2.
Oh, like every Monday?
Just
Right. So not everybody is compatible with the meeting one time, it sounds like, right?
That they, but it could probably not for both here the lecture and the practical. So, you know, it's just 4 hours a day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it's beside each other, it may be fit. As I say, I have confidence that it would fit in 4 hours, at least for the latter half of the semester, because we're using some of the lectures to help get through the practical. So we can just pick one and then we see how it works out, you know? So we will discuss again when everybody reaching. I think most people are here. Some are here, but in the meantime, we're going to dive right into what we're going to do in the meantime, and then we can revisit this topic again afterwards. Right. forgetting in Zoom where some of the options are. I don't know why. Must be getting all age or something. Maybe. Okay, I will figure it out eventually. Anyway, so let us jump into the first order of the semester, and for that we will head over to the class website and we will share screen. There we go. We'll head over to computing and head over to building information modeling. There we go. All right, so every time we come here, guys, we're always going to take a look on the timeline just to make sure that we are going according to plan. So we're going to talk about the Revit sample model now. Now, earlier today we spoke about this handout. I'm going to make it full screen for you guys. Let me kind of zoom in. All right, so BIM class demonstration. Now the reason, so we can, this is not a presentation, but it's more of a hybrid presentation demonstration, right? And what we're going to be doing is there's a link to this model here, but chances are you guys don't have to go by my link because this model is actually built into Revit 2024, right? So if you open Revit 2024 afresh, you will see it, or I'm gonna say or one more time. Or if you have Revit open, you can go to, I think it's file, and then you go to open, and then you go to sample files, right? Just in case you don't see it in your recent project, you can go to sample files. That will pop up and you will see all the sample projects there. And we are looking on the Snowdon Towers, right? This is actually in the USA, right? These are they. We're opening the architectural one first, but before we dive into looking on this, let's look a little bit on the handout. So in this assignment, you are required to form groups of 3 and select one of the following topics below to research and discuss in class. For each topic, you are required to define the topic, give an industry use case, and demonstrate in the BIM model that you have there with you now, right? So, for example, for defining your topic, well, rather, you see, for 1 and 2, I only need a single slide for 1 and a single slide for 2. And when I say slide, I'm talking about like a slideshow, because it's not a heavy presentation. The main meat of this discussion is really for you to get familiar with the topic. So for example, let's say that I choose a topic, what are scope boxes? Does anybody know what a scope box is in Revit? Are there any Revit fans in the house that already know what it is? Too long?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when we are discussing it, what we're going to do is during class, maybe not this class, definitely not next class, but maybe the other class is when we'll start going through and everybody will start to present their topics. And what you're going to do, you're going to have a single slide that discusses using images or videos or text or a combination of the two, whatever you want, but it needs to fit on one slide, right? An overview of your topic defining as it relates to architecture, to the architectural field. So meaning that you're not giving, you guys are coming right off of the 3D modeling presentations that we did last semester. Some of us had 10 slides, some of us has 20 slides, and so forth. Some had more. In this case, we're just defining what it is. What exactly are scope boxes, right? So for example, Odin might not know what a scope box is. As a matter of fact, we might, yeah, you have a question, Sona?
Oh no, I was going to kind of answer it, but go ahead.
No, man. Hold on. You can choose that topic if you want. Hold on, right? So, so you're going to define what it is, right? And in the clearest way you can, right? So maybe you want to show a screen clip of what it is or whatever it is. You just define it. Everybody, this should take like about 5 minutes, guys, or 10 minutes the most, not even 10 minutes, right? All right. Next, some of these are features of Revit, but some are not. So for example, discuss the professionals that work with the architect. That's not a Revit feature. You get what I'm saying? That's something else. Now, regardless if you are familiar with Revit or not, all of us will have to do 3, which is that you need to demonstrate your topic in the model, in the sample model given, right? So for example, let's go back with that same topic. Let's say we're looking at what our scope boxes, right? And you say, well, scope boxes are A, B, C, X, Y, Z. It's normally used to do this. And the main purpose of it is to blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Maybe there's a video, you show me what it's like, we all learn. On your second slide, how is it used in the industry? Maybe you find an example. Maybe you say, okay, let's say that you have blah, blah, blah. It would not be possible to blah, 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 unless you use a scope box to blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying? Maybe the example is something that you have used it in before, or maybe it's with another, with just a researched example, whatever it is, but you're giving an example how it's used in the industry. No, so for example, discuss professionals that work with the architect. So you would give an example of how that works in the industry. So what you find happening here is that some of these topics have to do with directly with the technical features in Revit, and some of them has to just do with a kind of broader view of the architectural industry, right? Now, regardless of whichever topic we use, step 3, which is the really critical one, this is where everybody gets their hands dirty. So you need to show me where our scope boxes was used in the sample project. So for example, if your topic is how are 3D contextual buildings created, right? You do the same thing. You define what is contextual buildings. So well, when you have a drawing, you might need to have context buildings. Why? Because blah, 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 blah. You know, you talk about it a little bit, right? And I'm talking to context buildings as it has to do in your drawing, in your BIM drawing. But then you would need to kind of demonstrate it in this model. So everybody has to, at least every group has to open this model. And if you're not familiar with that feature, then, you know, do a little bit of Googling and YouTubing and kind of find your way around it. It's not something that you have to deep dive in, right? So for example, I asked the question, what is phasing, right? As it relates to in Revit. And after you define it and say how it's used in the industry, you need to show it to us in the model. Oh, in this model, this is how the feature phasing was used, right? Everybody understand fully what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is some of the answers to these questions lie in you opening the model, but we're not just going to look at the model itself. We're going to look at the broader context of how this model came about, because there's a lot that we can learn from it apart from just what we're going to present on the topics, right? So we have I kind of helped you guys out. There are two primary videos that I want us to look at. One of them we can look at. The other one is it's like a 1 hour long panel discussion. And it's really talking about how Revit is used in the industry. And some of the answers to these questions actually lie in that panel discussion. Right? Now, we're not going to watch it in class. You guys are going to do that on your own time. I've put the video on the website for you to watch. But we're going to open the file, talk about it a little bit, talk about one of we're going to start to discover what's the difference with what we did last semester in 3D modeling compared to what we're going to do this semester in BIM. But we're going to now dive down a little deeper. There's so much more that BIM can offer that we haven't really gone into last time. And the course is kind of deliberately set up like that so that we absorb pieces of BIM every year when we do computing. So we started in second year, and we learned a little bit about hopefully sheet layout and symbols in architecture. Then in third year we did the 3D modeling. We're just coming off the heels of that, and you kind of learned a little bit more about modeling in BIM, right? And a lot of people know how to model in BIM. Like, that's one thing that I say most CSA students get. Now the challenge is now generating the drawings from BIM, and that's where a lot of people fall down. And to get that done, we need to dive deeper into BIM. This is the course that will show you how to do that. All right. So for at least for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be looking at this model, looking at some examples of BIM models. At least in the lecture part of it, we're going to dedicate about an hour to doing that. For now, at least, before we get going with the major project, right? Now, I do have some stuff to show you, I believe. I found this old school file that's very interesting, and I want to show. Is there anybody here that finds it challenging to use Revit? Don't be shy. Anybody here?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
So at times it does give me like a problems, but generally no.
All right, cool. Well, problems it will give you. But I want to point out something. This is AutoCAD. This is like old school AutoCAD. Like, you know, like this is what it used to be. I know a lot of people that's in the industry and they're like, yo, this is it right here. But I know some of us would be like, ugh, what is that? Colored lines and all of these things. So I have this example here that I want to show you. And I do believe I carried another example here. I can't believe it. I'm going to use this one. Yeah. And I want to just, in a simple sentence, kind of just cover one of the main advantages of using BIM. Where is that other file? Where did I put it? Yeah. So I'm going to drop this, organize this into 2. Yeah. I'm going to drop this over here. And I'm going to drop this over here. Let me get rid of these. I don't need these right now. We just want to kind of see. Oh, wait, not this one. Oops. You are for later. I meant you. Right. Close some windows here. Yeah. All right, so we have 2 fairly similar projects here. This is just a typical residence. This is something that I worked on years and years and years ago, right? So now the primary core of why we use BIM is everything is so tiny because screen. If I can find the icon. Right, there we go. So on the right side we have Revit, and on the left side we have CAD. And the thing is, and this is one of the reasons why even nowadays when persons use even remember to mute your mic, guys. Sula. Right. So even though some of us nowadays we use Revit, some of us still go back into AutoCAD or a 2D program because we're just unable to achieve something in Revit, right? I like how some people say, well, sometimes it gives some trouble. And that is true, because back in the day, if we saw this door that was here or this window that is here, and we decided that, hey, we want to make this window frame a little bit bigger, how we do that? We just draw a line, and now the window frame is bigger. You can't even see the lines here. Let's say use this window here. If we wanted to make the frame bigger, we would like just make the frame bigger. We would have to adjust these lines, each one of these lines like that. There we go. And now it's bigger, right? And the thing is, let's clean that up, right? And there you have the window frame there. Yeah, sorry about that. So this is how it used to be. You want to change something, you just adjust it to what is in your mind. Now, on the other hand, if I have this elevation here, right, and there's this elevation view here, what I will do is make this bigger, detach this. Come on. Oh, okay. It's okay. It's fine. Everything is so small. There we go. All right. And if I wanted to change the frame on this window, I definitely can't select the line and just drag it out. And this is so simple, but this is the #1 barrier to people who used to use CAD and they have to switch to Revit. And for those of us that came into this industry with Revit, and we know that this is the way to use, this is the future of doing drawings. The point is that in Revit, everything is parametric, meaning that if I want to change the frame of this window, well, I need to select the window, and I need to go into the window properties, and I need to go into edit type. And then when I go into edit type, I have to look for frame material. Here we go, frame. And then if there is no option for me to edit the frame, because there's no edit frame option here, all I can change is the width and the height of the window, and that's it. So if that isn't there, oh, well, that means that we need to now go into the family editor. And that is a whole nother ball game where when you click on this, now we can go into some modeling preferences to change the window. And you kind of see where I'm going with this rabbit hole, right, guys? You see where I'm going with this, Kimberly? Are you here, Kimberly? What about Gordon? Are you following Gordon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And guess what? This is the challenge that, especially in architecture, not just in school, but generally, like you need to change something and it's just not directly there. You know, it's not, oh, I just click this line and just move it. No, you have to go into properties, and blah, blah, blah. You have to do the parametric stuff. This is the future of drawing, right? The future of drawing is in the parametric nature. And when you want to edit something, the idea is you need to have a concept of where you go to edit that thing. And this is one of the reasons why some of us, when we do drawings, it don't look right. It look kind of weird. And your lecturer, when you pin up your drawings, the lecturer said this floor plan don't look like a floor plan because the door is not represented correctly and the window not represented. And a lot of us is like, why, sir, I don't even know where the properties is to change the window. Everything is buried in these options. Well, guess what? Even after finishing the BIM module, there will still be stuff that you need to learn. I am still learning stuff now. I've done quite a bit of projects in Revit. And every time I do a project, I'm like, oh, that's where that option was. So you are not alone in this. But the truth is that we're in the information age. There's a lot of resources out there. And there is always a reason why something is the way it is. Right? Now, Revit, is there anybody here that uses ArchiCAD? I think, yeah. Who was it that used ArchiCAD again? Was it, who was it again? Wasn't this class? Nobody don't use ArchiCAD in here? No?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Oh, right. Yes, ArchiCAD. Yeah, ArchiCAD. You use ArchiCAD, right? So, Revit is a very rule-based software. It's all about the rules. It's not just, just edit this and you're good. ArchiCAD is a bit more friendly. You know, like how I just show you this example where you can just click this line and move it. You know, it's something like that. But the drawback is that Revit tends to give you, because it's so rule-based, everything is controlled. It's kind of like, I describe Revit as like the government. You know, it's like it's very controlling in how you do stuff. But the reason for that is that if you know how to use it, you can really maximize how much you can do in a short time. Right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to focus a little bit. We're going to try to cover all the major things you need to know in Revit so that this example that I show you won't happen to you, where you need to change something and you're trying to find where to change it. Sometimes it might happen, but if you just understand the concept of how it works, then you can find a solution. All right, so one of the first things to understand, one of the major advantages, like the reason why some of us, the reason why people suffer through trying to edit a simple window and going through 10 different dialog boxes is the promise of a holistic model. A single 3D model that has all the information. It doesn't matter what format that information is in. So let me give you an example. Right now, let me come out of the library editor. So right now I'm looking at an elevation. I'm looking at a 3D view. I'm looking on a floor plan view, at least a partial floor plan. And then I'm looking at a door schedule, right? Do we know what a door schedule is? I bet Odin know what's a door schedule. He was just about to tell me. What's a door schedule, Odin?
Sir, honestly, I'm not too sure.
No problem. Mia, how you doing? Happy New Year.
So,
Oh, all right. Hamilton, you want to go ahead?
yeah, I'll take a try. So a door schedule basically talks about the various types of doors used within a project. And
Right.
it also talks about the makeup of the doors, not only just the door itself, but also the framing and the materials used within it.
Right. And because the person who is spending thousands of millions of dollars buying doors, you want to buy the exact amount of doors. I mean, guys, you know, it's about what? The last project I was working on is about $70,000 for one custom door, you know. So just buying an extra custom door is like, oops, I spent an extra $70,000. I'm sure all of us could use that $70,000 now, don't it? So the reason for a schedule is so that those mistakes aren't made, or the inverse, where you don't have enough doors, right? So the reason why I'm getting to this is that this is 4 different forms of information. But what does Revit promise you? What does BIM promise? BIM promises one holistic model. So the person, so if you click on a door, or if you click on a listing, so whether you click on the door, it highlights what door it is. Additionally, it highlights where that door is in all views. So if I, what's happening with my middle mouse button there? All right, let's jump to the 3D view here. Yeah. Oh, the camera, that view is locked. Okay, all right, no biggie. Anyway, so we go to create a view. There we go. And when I click on this door here, it highlights the door here, and it also highlights the door here as well. I do need to maybe go to wireframe. All right, can you guys see that door highlighted?
Yes, sir.
If I highlight this window here, let me use that door because I have door schedule. If I highlight this window here, this door here, it also highlights it here as well. And it highlights it, where are we? Here as well. So what you find is that you might have somebody doing a rendering, you have somebody doing a list of door information and details, you have somebody drawing elevations and sections. It's all referencing the same model, right? And this is the promise that BIM gives us. Now, of course, the example that I showed you before, where we're coming from, me editing this window here did not change it in the section view, nor in the other views. I would have to manually go and adjust lines for every single view. I don't know which one is worse, digging through options and parameters or editing individual lines per view. I don't know. Seko, Pringle, which one is worse? Would you rather be searching for the right parameter to edit the door as how you want it, or would you rather just draw the door 4 different times in the 4 different views? What do you prefer?
So it depends on how much time I have.
Well, what I normally hear is that some persons would say, the time I'm going to spend to find the option, I would draw the 4 doors already. Which there is some truth to that. But if I have 100 doors to edit, I'm sure after I figure out how to edit the first door, the rest will be easy to do. So what does that mean? That means that using BIM is more like of an investment for efficient use later on. It means that figuring out how to get this roof to be curved, and in 3D I could just draw a line and extrude it, or rather in 2D I can just draw a wavy line and offset it. But because I know the process by which it is done, I can now do the other roofs. So I'm just kind of laying the foundation and preparing you guys to be diving down into properties and properties and properties, because that is the core of how BIM works. It's all about parameters. Nothing is just move it directly. No, you need to go into the parameters and change the parameters. And the reason for that is because the information is represented in multiple different ways. So when you change one parameter, you want it to affect the different ways. All right. So that is kind of just the premise of what BIM has, and I'm just kind of priming you to be ready to jump into properties. I will have to do the same, and trust me, every year I forget how to do something. That's why I'm glad I make these videos, because in a way, you know, it helps me to remember every time I have to teach it. Even though I do projects, I do a few projects in Revit, you know, there's still sometimes when you just forget something and then you forgot that you used to know how to do it. You know what I mean? All right. Now, let's talk about the final project. What time is it? Okay, we have like an hour left. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of focus on this assignment for now, and then we'll look into the final project when we have our next class. So I want to open this model, and this is kind of a massive Revit project here. So if you guys are able to locate it, let's hide this here. Let me try and just make my screen as big as possible. Yeah. I'll put this on the other screen for now, because we're not going to dive into the using Revit just yet. What we want to kind of look at is a little bit of the theory behind just how this project was created, because this is an excellent template for how you will end up using Revit. Now, in this case, this is a sheet in Revit. Some of us have used probably sheets, or some of us use sheets already, maybe some of us haven't. I'm gonna just put it here. And I'm not going to dive too deep into the program just yet, but I want to just point out something for this project. These are the different sheets, and this is the title sheet. It is floor plans. There you go. That's what floor plans look like. Right? And that's the first floor. You have multiple floors. Let me just jump right away all the way to the roof. That sheet now. It's opening somewhere. Come on, Revit. You can do it. Oh man, if it's struggling on my computer, I hope you guys can open it on yours. Or maybe my Revit crashed. Or maybe I get a message. What's happening? All right, no worries. I have more than one Revit here ready to go. Come on. There we go. So remember, okay, let me close this first. don't want to save. So remember, if you guys need to find the project in your Revit, you can go to File, click the little button here beside Open, then click Sample Project Files, and then you're opening the architectural. Let's see if the other one really froze. Yeah, it totally froze. Wow, can't believe that. How dare you freeze on me, Revit, when I'm in the middle of path. So I'm gonna kill it. All right, I'm back again. All right, let's hope that you don't freeze now. Anyway, so right, so we looked on, I was switching to the roof plan. Oh my. Oh wow. Really? Okay. All right, how about this? Let's open it again. Come on, Revit. I can do this all day. Okay. Or maybe it's just taking a while to open. In any case, while I wait on that to open, I want to talk a little bit about this project. Now, on the website, this, where are you? The website. Under this assignment, the theory assignment, 30%, where you see supporting files, this is where the videos are. Some of these videos are, I think, little breadcrumbs to help you guys find the answers to some of the topics that, whichever topic you decide to choose. All right. I want to just play it very quickly. This one here. There we go. Not very long, it's like 5 minutes.
We are on the site of the former Snowden building in Monongahela Bank that was torn down about a year ago now here in downtown Bronzeville. It had to be demolished because of the fact that it was falling into the street.
Case Technologies, along with Autodesk, we started a project back in Volterra, Italy about 6 years ago to digitally preserve some of the most important archaeological and architectural sites in the world. And it introduced us to this whole idea of digital preservation and how powerful that can be for a community. We use scanners that digitize every little detail about the building in a three-dimensional way. We like to think of it as like a time capsule. We've captured this building in time so that it can be with us forever virtually. The buildings that we had captured here, as you can see, are no longer here. So the fact that we were able to scan them before they were demolished, we now have that digital twin of what they used to be. We can now take that data, which is incredibly accurate, and we can reconstruct the building back to its former glory.
This is the Union Station building. It's the original corporate home of the Monongahela Railroad.
The exciting thing about Brownsville right now, from Autodesk's perspective, is that Brownsville is a big piece of what's new.
Autodesk, seeing the work that we had done here, taking that data and imagining what would have been like had they not been torn down, but if they could have been rehabilitated into a new building. We were showing this data to Paul, and Paul's a partner of ours, and Paul came up with this great idea to turn this data into this.
What you see with historic preservation are these opportunities that start to bubble up that are not about the past, but they're about the future. Because now when you go in, you can actually see.
We've also extended this as an educational program with the Brownsville High School students, giving them this reconstructed model. They can go in using gaming software and other modeling software, start to interact with it. They're learning about technology using a historic building from Brownsville. They're adding additional features to the model, lighting and materials and the train with smoke coming out of it, etc. And they just love it. And the testimonials we have from the students are just remarkable. You know, we've had tearful testimonials from students saying, "This has given me so much confidence, and I can't believe I'm actually able to do this stuff."
The digital step is valuable because it enables people without a living memory to actually see the building restored. The digital restoration of the project really allows people's imaginations to transcend time, and then allows them to begin to even have a conversation about what the future could look like. Brownsville, as a leader in the American Revolution and as a leader in the Industrial Revolution, is now ushering in a new era of Industrial Revolution. This is the model for how the world is functioning. And this is the model for our students, and not just our local students, but now students worldwide.
And so I like to say that the work we do is with the design heroes, and we do this because we're all committed to making the world a better place.
Right, and that's it in twin motion, right? So, what this project was actually is it is a demonstration of how you can use BIM to digitally reconstruct something, right? That or you notice they use the word digital twin, right? So I'm going to show you this. So this is a 3D scan of that area. I don't know if you can kind of see it. Well, I don't think you should attempt to open this on your computer, because if it's struggling on mine, it will definitely struggle on yours, right? Can you guys see this? Can you see it on your screen? Let me try and...
I'm seeing something, sir.
Yeah, so let me pin it. Oh man, I wonder if I should have rebooted before class.
It looks like a painting.
Yeah.
Is that a point cloud?
Yes, it is a point cloud. Come on. I don't know, man. Like, I use this. I went through all of this a couple of weeks ago and it was fine, but of course, I actually need it. I think it's probably Zoom. I want to pin it so it can stop jumping. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to fix Zoom, because I don't know if some of you might be seeing it blurry, so I'm going to optimize it for the sharpest I can get it. All right, how is it looking now? Looks kind of like a painting, right? All right, so what this is a laser scan, and let me zoom out here. you can kind of make out, can you? Let me see. Kind of. You can kind of make out where so what they do, they put an object at one place and it shoots out lasers. Let me, and it shoots out lasers. And when it hits a point in the real life, this is in real world, when it hits a point on the real building, it registers a distance and a height, and it puts a little dot there. It shoots out another one and it hits here, it puts a dot here. It shoots out another one here. Now, of course, it shoots out billions of these dots. And as soon as that laser hits a point, it makes a kind of notation as to where the point is. And that's why this is thousands of little points. So let me zoom in. All right, I don't know if you can. Can you see those dots? Maybe not, because because of the compression and the zoom. But there are billions of little dots. And that is what comes together to give you the laser scan. So for this project, this is the building that was to be demolished. Let me just show you here. I believe it starts somewhere from about right here. All of this was to be demolished. And think about some of the buildings that you have downtown now. Right there downtown in Kingston. And what happened is, as they say, these are some tall buildings and they're literally falling out into the road. So imagine you are a person walking in the sidewalk and a brick just land in your head. So that was the reason why they wanted to demolish it. I think it demolished up to this point here. Now, the whole idea of this is that they did a laser scan of the property. And from the laser scan, they were able to create the drawings. You know what that's called? That's called a measured survey of the future. How do we do measured surveys now? Well, you go out there with tape measure and you draw and all them things there. But the way that this was done is that when they use the laser scanner to scan this, then now come into Revit and you use the tools in Revit like the wall tool now. And come on, wall tool, you can do it. The poor person that had to use their computer with this very heavy model. There's ways to make the model a bit more efficient, but I'm not doing that now because I'm just showing you an example. Right? But look at this wall. Oh crap, it's not on the zero axis. But basically, you just draw the wall over the model, and that is how they created the building, right? Now there's a whole story of this process that's in the other video. I'm not going to spoil it because you guys need to actually go through the video, and they will give you hints as to some of the features that I pick out, how it's used throughout the model, right? So this is kind of the first step, and then next came the model. Now you guys already know how to model in Revit already. You did it last semester, right? That is essentially how they got from this point there to, all right, here we go again. Oh no, this is the one that was frozen. Okay, let me get rid of this one. Don't worry, I have like 5 different rivets open. So when one crash, I just go to the other one. There we go. There we go. Right. Let's put this over here. Right. Right. This time, I'm not gonna go to the roof because the roof has some kind of business happening to it why it doesn't want to show. So let me go to a 3D view. There we go. And this is the model. So for those of you that have this open, you can kind of see, kind of put it side by side. go. So you can kind of see this is the laser scan, and over here we have Revit model like that, right? Now, maximize this. Now here is the thing. Creating this model is one thing. Like there's a lot of very interesting processes that was used to model all of this detail, right? We're going to try and look on some of them. But the point is that after you have this beautiful model, right? Think about the building that you created for your 3D modeling last semester. When you're done with it, you have this nice model. How do you cut it up in ways that you can instruct somebody to build it again? And that is one of the things that we're going to look at, because modeling it is one thing, but how do you show it as an elevation and show it as a section? So so for example, this time I'm not going to use the views because I will just open it directly here. So for example, you know, this is a architectural floor plan. It has tags for the windows. Has anybody ever seen a wall tag? Anybody know that term? A wall tag? Max? Right. So the wall tag basically tells you what type of wall it is. So this points out, this says it's an SO2 wall. And then what does SO2 mean? Well, you need to look in the wall schedule, which is on. Let me minimize this because this can get very confusing really quick. Right, so I would look under schedule.
You can turn on the volume of the music just a bit, please.
Oh, sorry about that. My background is, yeah. Can you hear me? Mic check.
I can hear you better.
Right. So when you go to the schedule, here we have the window schedule, we have the door schedule here. Let's go here. Here we have the wall schedule. And if we open that, these are all the different types of walls that are in there. View list. No, we don't want to go to this schedule. We want to open. Oh, they don't have a wall tag schedule. Anyway, we're not going to dive too deep into that part. There are other things like the door tags. So there's a tag for the wall, there's a tag for the door. So for example, just like we look in the door schedule now, here are all the codes, the width, the height, the thickness, the material, everything for every single door in the project. I mean, these are things that they used to do by hand, meaning manually create a giant Excel list, open the program, count the doors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how it was done in the past, which I know now seems kind of crazy, but this is how it's done now. So when you add a door, it will add the door to a list automatically. So now we're kind of moving into some of the more deeper features of Revit. So apart from just creating this 3D model, there are other things that are happening in the background, other architectural things, like what we're talking about now, right? And I'm hoping that you can also take a look on the model as well on your end. There's some other things as well. For example, notice the line weight. So for example, you can see we have where the actual walls are thicker for the boundary walls. You can kind of see them here. Then they have a particular hatch to them. So for example, you can see that this is like concrete here, right? So it's not just about drawing a wall for the purpose of 3D. Now it has to be represented in plan correctly, right? All right, let's continue through. Remember, you guys can do this also on your end. So let me minimize this. So this is our drawing views. And this is a great example of how you can arrange your views. The last time we were in Revit, most of us spent time on the views. But there are other elements that make up a project. There is legends and schedules and sheets and families and groups and links. So we're going to be hopefully going through some of these, right? Under views, this is where we have our views. The last time we used Revit, you probably had maybe ground floor, upper floor, and that was it, or level 1, level 2. But for example, there are many different types of plans that is here. So for example, schematic plan. So let me go to level 1 schematic. And I'm going to close. I'm going to open level 1 architectural. And then I'm going to go to view and put them side by side. Now, if you look at these two plans here, I'll move this out of the way. All right, these two plans are the same floor, but Haley, they look different. Can you tell me why? Oh, wait, don't talk yet. Oh. Mic check. Yes. Are you here, Kaylee?
Yes, sir. It appears that you
Oh,
have
hold on.
written.
Okay, it died.
Um,
Hold on a sec. Died. Let me charge it. All right. Yes. Take 3. Go ahead, Kaylee.
yes, sir. So it appears that you have hidden all the section lines and the tab
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
the legend.
Right. But the great thing about this is that we're talking about the same model. It's not as if we had to redraw the entire floor plan to show it as a schematic plan. So notice one of them is schematic plan and one of them is construction. And that is actually one of the things that we're also going to look at in this module, because there's a kind of confusion, especially in architecture, school. You guys hear about the term working drawings, right? Or construction drawings. As a matter of fact, you do a module that's called construction drawings, something like that. Is it a elective? Right. And you know, it's a kind of a weird thing in architecture school, because you know, you go through architecture school and you learn how to design, and you learn how to pay attention to the environment and the climate and all of that. But when you go out into the work world, you need to be doing construction drawings. A lot of us end up doing construction drawings, including myself, but we don't really teach construction drawings in school. But the funny thing is, when you guys present your design studio, I guess you will hear your lecturers saying that it is lacking in a lot of information. So it's like this weird chicken and egg thing. The truth is that there is no way we can teach. There's no time. Let me not say no way. There's no time that we could possibly teach construction drawings, along with the myriad of other things you need to learn. But the truth is that it wouldn't be practical to teach how to do it, because a lot of it you learn in the field. You know, like you can read 10 books, and when you cut a wall in half, how the wall looks, but it's totally different when you actually work on a project and you see the wall coming together and all of that, right? So what I'm trying to get at is that in architecture school, you do a lot of what we call design drawings. And it's almost like a hybrid of construction drawings and schematic drawings. Because when you present your design studio, there are some ideas that the only way to show it is in a construction drawing way. So for example, if I needed to communicate that there are I-beams in this wall, I would need to show the I-beams. You get what I'm saying? Or if I needed to, a common one is that I need to show the distance between the beams because it is really important for my design studio. Then the type of drawings that I need to do need to be closer to construction drawings. But there are other times when I really only want to highlight what the space is being used for. You don't need to know that the exact dimension of the space is 36 feet, 10 and 3/4 inches. You just need to know the size of this space and that's it. So when we do our project, our major project, we're actually going to be generating schematic drawings and construction drawings from the same model, right? Which is really a time saver, like if you think about it, because there are some things, especially details. Maybe you have a special roof and you need to show how that roof works. So you want to do it in a way that's not like a schematic. You want to put dimensions and those things. But then you also want to show the roof in a way where it's for rendering. So you know. So the idea is that with the one BIM model, by knowing how to manipulate the parameters, we can efficiently use one model to show everything, right? And we're just talking about within the realm of architecture. On a much broader scale, if you notice, when you go to open this project, oh, not here. When you go to, come on. Oh, it was here. I thought it froze again. I'm like, no, you're not going to do this to me again, Revit. Right. So when you go here, you will notice that there is architectural, there is electrical, facades, HVAC, plumbing, site, and structural. These represent different architectural professions, right? So for example, an engineer would be doing the structural drawings and they're also using Revit. So everybody is doing the same, is working on the same model, which is pretty cool. And we're going to do a little bit of that near towards the end of the semester, right? We're going to show the real superpower behind what a BIM model can do, right? It's way more than just, oh, look at my building in 3D. There is so much that you can get out of it. So anyway, I hope some of you are looking through this to kind of follow as we go along, right? So I'm going to look at the elevation. So let me see. So I'm under views. And then I see floor plans here. I see ceiling plan. I see interior elevations. So if I expand interior elevations, there are so many interior views that are here. Now I'm gonna grab one. Let's look at the kitchen elevation. I'm gonna double click that. And this is what the kitchen elevation looks like. This is so cool. So you can show, the height of the cupboards, and look, everything is labeled, right? So if you had an idea for how you want this kitchen to be laid out, it's the same model. So for example, I can click on this and I can say, is this right? I can right click and I can say, Find in referring views, and I want you to show me where this fridge is on my floor plan. I'm going to say open view. All right, I'm put this over here. There we go. And here it is. So here is the fridge that is in this view, right? So and then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to click on this view, this cupboard right here. When I click on this cupboard, you can see it highlighted here. And I'm going to right click it and I'm going to say, I'm going to click this little magic button here, which is totally cool. And this should show me, where is it? It should show me. Let me go to, oh, here it, where is the zoom icon? I think, is zoom covering my zoom icon? You get it? Zoom. Oh, it's here. Right. Sorry, I'm mixing it up with ArchiCAD. Oh, Lord. Okay, so zoom. No, not here. I want to zoom, zoom to fit. There we go. Finally. All right, so here is the kitchen in 3D. And guess what? This is using a not a scope box. This is using a section tool. So I'm gonna just put this in the center here so you can see what I'm doing. This is, by the way, guys, this is not a tutorial. We're just kind of, what would you say now? Oops, let me not do that. Undo. Right, we're just kind of going through dissecting this model. All right, I'll have to hide this. Hold on, I'll have to. Oh, it's because it's a view template. Okay, hang on a sec, guys. I'm just talking to myself here because there we go. Okay, it's none. And all right, good. Let's come out of this. Why are you hidden again? Okay, I don't remember why you're hidden. But what I'm showing you is that I can expand the different areas surrounding the kitchen here. So I'm trying to show you that in the BIM model, this experience of putting the drawings on a sheet where it has dimension and everything is the same 3D model that we would create, like what we did last time in 3D modeling, right? And it's the same floor plan. Oops, this floor plan that's represented here. And not only can we represent this in this view like this, but we can also show it on a schematic view, for example. So there are so many ways to show the work that you have done in this BIM model. And that is one of the things that I think in CSA, we don't do enough. You know, a lot of us model an extravagant model, but we don't really show it in different ways, right? So to speak. The additional thing is that for some of us, like this is a kitchen that is built out with sink and fridge and all kind of stuff. Sometimes there may not be enough time to do this amount of detail in 3D. So in that case, you can do what's called you can do just a two-dimensional representation, without having to model out each of these elements. That's the other challenge that we have in CSA, is that for most of us, we learn, in an academic environment, we don't have enough time to model everything. So you have to find a clever way where you can model what you need to model, and the rest you can draw in 2D. And a lot of times persons don't recognize that in Revit, you can just draw 2D lines over a shape, over a model. So you can combine drawing it in 3D and then putting the detail in 2D, right? And some of that is even done in this model here. Oops, don't snap. So I'm gonna make views a little smaller. No, not views. I'm gonna go to drafting views, and I'm gonna bring up, let's look on this one here. All right, so let's put this over here. So this is also in the project as well, but these are just 2D lines. So this is showing you the top view of the block wall to kind of show like a detail of what it looks like. So let me show you another example here. No, maybe this one, right? So what these are just drawings. Imagine you were back in AutoCAD where I show you just have lines and you just draw. You can do that within Revit as well. So for example, if you had a diagram of how something works and you wanted it to be a part of your drawing, you would just copy that diagram in your drafting view, right? You wouldn't have to worry about, I'm going to place it in 3D and where is it going to go? No, you actually have what's called drafting views, and in that drafting view, it's just 2D lines, right? So we're kind of going through this project, and the good thing about this is that this project makes use of almost everything that we're talking about, right? So let's look under 3D views, and let's look under 3D shaded uncropped. What time is it? 6:33. All right. Come on. Here we go. Right. Right. Now, the other interesting thing about this is, oh man, okay, let's use this view. Let me close some of these so that I don't blow up my computer. We don't want to crash again. We don't want to crash and burn. All right, here we go. And what I'm going to do is, release that. There we go. All right. Now, the other interesting thing about this model is that it was made by different persons on the same architectural team. So for example, let me bring up back the view again. Oops. I'm going to minimize views and I'm going to go down to links. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unload these links. This is one of the reasons why the model is so heavy. So let me go unload. Yes. 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 And yes. Yes. All right. Now, and let me unload electrical. Now, the facade of the building, let me unload that. So within the architectural office, you had persons who were working on just the main building, but because the facade was so intricate, let me reload this, you actually have a group that work just on the facade. And then both of them were put together. So we could actually open this file, which let's take a look on that. Architectural. No. There we go. There we go. So what you're seeing here is the model of just the facade alone in this file. So this is the part that we're going to look at when it comes to collaborative modeling. Because remember, just like how we spoke about the engineer doing their drawings and then the architect doing their drawings and plumbing doing their drawings, those are three different industries. But even within just architecture alone, if you're working on a really complex model, you can split that workflow where you have somebody that's working on just this facade, which is kind of crazy with all of the crazy modeling that was done for this. And then you have another team working on like the floor plans and creating the buildings and all of those things. So if you look in this Revit file, and for example, under sheets, there are no sheets here. If you look on the floor plans, I mean, there's nothing. There are no floor plans here. It's just the blank reference wall. So in this Revit file, it's just about creating the facade. And then they collaboratively work together now to put it together. So we're going to do an example like that with our model as well, right? Which is going to be pretty cool. All right. So before we go any further in this model, let's look at some of the questions that we need to answer for the assignment. Which is here. I have it open already here. Nope. Here. There we go. Right. So some of the topics we have is well, firstly, before we leave here today, everybody needs to fit in a team of 3 persons. So we're going to jump on the mirror board. I'm going to take a copy of this. And I'm going to place it on the mirror board. We only have 11. There's how much of us? Yeah, I think we have enough to go around. Yeah, everybody should be able to fit in a group, right? All right, there we go. All right, so let us go onto mirror board. And we're going to go to BIM 2425. Let me open the mirror board. So there we go. There you go. So if you go on the website now, you can click the mirror board link, class whiteboard link, and it should carry you directly to the mirror board, which I see some of you are already there. All right, great. There we go. All right. All right, so I'm gonna put this over here like this. And what I would like is I'm gonna use some, let's just use some sticky notes, right? And I'm gonna use a shape here. I'm gonna just do that. And let's make this a dash line and make it red. There we go. And we're just going to copy this a few times. Let's make this a little bit more narrow. Let's put it like that. Put this over here, and we're going to copy this down a couple of times. I guess you guys can kind of figure out what we're doing here. There we go. Let's stick this over here. I think we should alternate, it would be good. So we'll connect this one here. And what you need to do is to double click inside so that you can write your name. And you guys are free to decide how you want to. Oh, wow. Can you give me a chance to copy it? Hold on. Right. It's kind of a. There we go. There we go. All right. So this is here. So what I want you to do, look at the feature. Everybody has to go into Revit, by the way, right? Okay. I need a chance to move this guy here as soon as I can get a chance to click it. All right, good. You get the idea. I see Sulong helping me out. All right, cool. All right, good. Let's move this up like that. There we go. And I want you to decide what groups you're going to go in, right? Now, we can actually, so what you're going to do is when we start to, I think between this class and I think next class, so next class, we are going to maybe look a little bit on the model again. But what you're going to do is you can, if you want, you can just present in PowerPoint or whatever program you want. Hold on, we're doing it alternatively. Well, okay. All right, well, all right. It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Remember, whatever topic you choose, part 1, define it. Part 2, give an example. Part 3, you need to manipulate. You need to open the model. Somebody in your group, make sure they have a computer that can manage it. You need to open the model and say, okay, this is an example of how this was used in the model. All right, guys? And that's the whole idea why we want to be kind of playing around with the model, because I want us to kind of get familiar with it, right? Yeah, let me pull this down a little bit. I think not to get this confused, I'm going to carry these over like this so that we know that that is on that side, and we know that these are on this side. Yeah, you see what I'm doing there?
Sir, how many people do I group again?
What did I say? 3? What's on the handout? I think it's 3. I'll look in a second. I believe it's 3. Because there are like 3 things to do. So, yeah, that's the idea behind it. Okay, let me create one for this one here.
Sir, a quick question. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
All right, cool. So, the groups that we just selected, the pointers that are on the 1, 2, 3 pointers, those are what we're going to do in relation to, for example, my group is the Topo Solid 2.
Right.
I'm going to use the model, the sample model to show how Topo Solid was used, right?
Right, you are correct. Now,
okay,
in order to do that, hold on, where am I? I am
So will you need like a full-blown presentation, Google type thing, or we can just, explain it?
All right. So what you're going to do? So the first thing you're going to do is define whatever topic you choose. So you need to kind of say what is it, which in your case it's a Revit feature. So you need to like tell a little bit about what it is. This is the Topo Solid. It's a feature in Revit. This is where you find it. What is it used for? Then now the second point is used in the industry. So maybe you get an example somewhere. Maybe it could a project that you can show, not this project, not the sample project, but it could be something like you show a famous building and you said if you look at the drawings for it where they show the terrain, this is an example of where you would use a Topo Solid to do blah blah blah. So it's an example in the industry, right? And then your third point now is when you actually open Revit. This is a part of your presentation. You're going to open Revit and show. So you need to kind of familiarize yourself with the sample project, if you know what I mean, right?
Okay, and we're going to use the sample project for point 3 then, right?
Exactly. You're going to use the sample project for point 3, right?
Understood, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm going to spend this week and just next week, and we're just going to go through the sample project a little. I'm going to try not to give away the answers because this is a learning experience for both sides. And the sample project is fairly complex, which is a good thing because you get to see how far you can go with Revit. Now, there is one thing that I'm going to give you to watch before you go. In the same folder, I will just show you a small snippet because we're not going to watch it in class. But when you go on the website, there is supporting video. When you go in there, there is this thing that says the Creating Revit 2024 sample project. Now, a lot of clues for your presentation lies in this 45-minute webinar. And what it is somebody that is interviewing the project lead of the person who led the project to create the Revit sample project. And they speak about how it was used and speak about the features and the intention of it. And it's a pretty interesting video, right? It's also it comes from, it's on the Autodesk website. Additionally, there are some things here that we will go through as well on the mirror board. So even if you look around on the mirror board, you will see these examples. We're not going to go into them yet, maybe next class. These are actually some projects that I have done in the past, so I chose to carry them in so that I can use it as a sample for you guys. But anyway, we're focusing on this for right now. Here is some other clues as well, right? So they published a paper on the sample project. There's just a lot going on for this sample project, and we want to just spend at least 3 weeks kind of going through it and looking on the different features. And while we do that, we're going to be doing our major project as well, right? So we're going to be starting that on Monday. Remember, come with your Revits ready to rumble. All right? So hopefully that's going to be the nature of how we work, right? You have this very complex model that you can go through, and you need to go through it to answer your question while we go through our quote-unquote simpler model. All right? All right, so next week we're going to go through it a little bit more. Let me just, I was said I would give you a little preview of it. Where is it? Let's see. BIM. Then with a figure. Right, here we go.
Welcome back to the podcast. This is going to be a fun episode because it's breaking the boundary of the two of us, which is going to be
right. So I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit, right? And you will notice some of the names here. Paul is the one that does a lot of tutorials, even the Linda tutorial. For those of you who know about Linda, LinkedIn, that they do tutorials, it's this guy here. He's very knowledgeable about Revit, right? Harlan was also a part of that project as well. And what they talk about just the whole idea of using Revit to create like a digital twin of a building, then on top of that propose a new design change for it. Because remember when we looked on the original building, firstly, what was original was captured. It was put in Revit, and then the design change was proposed on top of it. So if you look on the model, you will see, I'm going to show you on the mirror board, you can obviously see this very kind of modern part of the building just sticking out. And then you can see the traditional part of the building there. So it's like a nice historical renovation where you keep some historical areas, but then you add some futuristic elements to it as well, right? And this is the kind of thing that we could definitely use happening downtown Kingston for a lot of those old buildings. And it's just a good example of how we can do that all within the BIM environment, right? So it talks
historic structures that were there in Brown.
The scanning of it, right? And anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to go through it by yourselves. It is on the website. Scroll down. We're dealing with theory assignment, 30%. Under supporting files, here it is right here. Watch it in the different groups that you're in. Get the clues for the answers to your questions. And then the next 3 weeks, we will just kind of dissect this project. All right, guys, that is it for class today. Remember, please install Revit 2024 for Monday. All right, guys. On Monday, we're going to get set up, and let's try out on Monday to just have one class. Let's see how it works out. We just run it from 9 to maybe 1, and if it works, then
I will.
What do you think? What was that?
So remember the break.
Yeah, man, we'll have the break in between. Don't worry. Let's try it out and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then we'll just switch back to this where we come back again in the evening. So let's see how it works. I think we can fit it in like a 4 hour with a break. So let's see. I'll see you next time, guys, for more excitement in BIM. All right? Take care.
Bye, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
Go on.
Bye.